This video is brought to you by Inside the Mind of a Blur merch, where we have face masks, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and of course, the socks. Everything comes in multiple colors. For further details, check the description below and enjoy the video. Welcome everybody back to Comics Among Us. I'm your host, AI Alpha, aka the Negro Gideon, aka the OG Black Ranger, aka the Black Chuck Norris with the chest hair. You know, them chest hairs is all good. Them things is all good. AKA Spartan Luther King, AKA Malcolm Flex, AKA No Good Marshall, AKA my name is Kuta, not Toby, AKA the black nigga, the light skinned nigga in Wakanda, AKA there's so many AKAs I had, but you know it's the usual. Red Cup family in the building. And I got my co-host, Danny DoubleOhStatus, aka sweet and sour sriracha sauce, aka Monfongo with two plantanos, our merengue dancer, and a piñata in the background for the kids to play with. Danny DoubleOhStatus, how you doing today, brother?
I'm like, this shit makes it look like there's a piñata in the background. There's a little plant right there. So what's going on, everybody? It is DoubleOhStatus, your favorite MI6 agent, aka the Dominican Panther, Bachata.
Suavemente.
AKA Danny Phantoms. When the cops come through, I'm going ghost.
And you know this, man.
And an oldie but a goodie, and I'll always keep it with me. We're talking a little too loud right now, so I gotta take it down to Jazz FM levels. Because down in the Angola Zaire border, they like to call me Nyoka Pembe. And what does that mean?
The white mamba.
A white mamba. And I gotta put in this disclaimer at the end, so none of the Angolans come after me, because I'm actually part Angolan myself. I found that out recently. I do know that Nyoka Pembe means white horned snake. Don't come for me. I'm gonna call it white mamba regardless.
That was a super throwback. But today's discussion, we pretty much got the Last Ronin was blessed with us a couple of weeks ago. And I think I probably read that joint probably like 4 times already. The first, as this recording, the first episode of Loki dropped. So we're going to give our little impressions on that, like what to expect. And knowing that when the season's done, we come back with a review. So, Danny, how's your week been going on so far?
My week's been going good. Been off work for the week. As far as Last Ronin itself, oh hell yeah, give me food. What are you doing? This way. Okay. It's been going great. With Last Ronin, what I've been doing is I've reread the whole thing every time a new thing comes out, a new chapter. Is that what they call it?
Issue.
Chapter issue.
Yeah.
So I've read it 4 times, because I also read it in its entirety just to have it fresh in my head for this. So, Oh man, I mean, honestly, it doesn't dull the hit of the stuff that happens. It's just
so emotional,
and you bring more in your head. You bring more turmoil to the next issue, because now you have everything going.
Definitely. As a Ninja Turtle fan, it just breaks my heart to just see them just. At least they not going out like pussies. That's what I gotta say.
Oh yeah.
As long as they're not going out like pussies. Cause
I give credit to the villains. I mean, they're not playing around this time.
The way Ralph went out. I always forget Shorty's name, Shredder's daughter's name.
Shiraki,
something like that. The way they were just fighting each other in the water and just bro. And it come to find out that she's in a coma the whole time. But her son is ruling everything.
So the thing with that too, that went a lot different than I saw, because I know he kind of stabbed her in the spinal area, but Ralph is such a G that I thought he was gonna be yo, I'm choking you the fuck out underwater. I don't care if I die too, as long as you die, I'm good.
Yeah, and that was the little plot twist when they brought us to this next issue, that this whole time she's been in a coma.
Yeah, she's alive.
How long?
Oof, years.
Well, quote, she's technically alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, technically. And then Leo and Casey.
Part of me just because of just comic book shit, right, or even like anime shit. They're not playing, you know what I'm saying? And with this Ninja Turtle iteration, like this story, they're not playing around at all. But part of me is just like, I ain't see bodies though.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, there wouldn't be bodies.
Body of Ralph. they saw the body of Ralph when he died, and then, it's been spoiled already. But
I would say for Ralph, for Ralph, I will understand because Ralph had, first of all, Ralph went in and but he took on a platoon of a bunch of like these weren't just like putties, like putty ninjas. They were skilled, like they got their hits in.
Mm-hmm.
And
you see the war wounds as he's going through them.
Yeah, so he fought Shredder's daughter like in a not at his best. Exactly. And he still got to the point of almost killing her. Like that's nuts in itself.
And then it's like it goes a little bit into the future, I guess. I think a few years since the Ralph incident.
Yeah.
And then you see it's Casey and Leo, they together because Shredder's grandson wanted like a truce. Yeah, it was a false truce. So Splinter and Donnie ends up going to meet up in Japan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So everybody else is left behind, and it had to be the black guy scientist who's on the evil side and whatnot.
Stockman, I think it was.
Stockholm.
It's Stockman or Stockholm?
Stockholm.
Okay. I know Stock something.
And like the pretty much the robot that he technically created back from the
Fujito.
the original stories. I have to do my research. Like I don't remember the robot for a second, so I read up on it. And like he was supposed to go to kill the turtles, but he was rewired to be friends. So I was like, all right, cool.
I'm trying to remember was he the robot that was he initially a robot turtle?
No.
Okay, because I remember there was a robot. Someone made a robot mechanical turtle.
No, that was a whole different one because I seen that when I was doing my research, but it's two different ones.
Gotcha.
But pretty much like literally sacrificed himself. He was like, before you come get me, I'd rather blow myself up. The guy's like, too late. Push the button. All those little shit just blew up on him. Like, yo, I did not expect this.
Yo, it's been a minute since I've seen those little things too. Because when he named them, I'm like, I know where they were. Because from a throwback, Turtles in Time, those are one of the enemies. So, man, and seeing them too, because they're like, they're like a weird 2-part thing that they kind of like go like this. So seeing the swarm of all of this, and then to like you said, that moment when the guy was like, to me, you're not gonna be taken alive with it. Okay, cool. And he just said like this, and you see the scene before it actually hits, and you're like, yo,
where the fuck these niggas come from?
Not even where they come from, like where can you escape to? And on top of that, it's like even if you put a basic thing, like let's say that it's a stick of dynamite that each one of them can blow up. Like yo, all of that together in one room look like a swarm. Crazy.
And like Leo and Casey, they fighting these robotic foot soldiers, and like they like holding it down, and out of nowhere, you fighting is a big explosion. Like you have no way to prepare for it at all. And you get taken out like that. I was like, nah, this can't be life. And just to reread that for like the umpteenth time, it's turning a hole in my heart.
Yeah, like even the way that, like I said, the way they even like strategically did that whole thing, like I loved it. Like you were saying, at first I was just like, yo, is that Donnie? Like what? They made him look like a great tactician. I mean, he always was.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like the way they stylized him in that scene, because you had him essentially playing Oracle for the Turtles. You had both Leo and Casey were both on the field, and they had like their what was it that they called the strike team.
Oh yeah,
so
they pretty much got like a bunch of people that actually sided with them, which is like dope because it carried on to the daughter.
Yeah, that was a great introduction to the daughter though, because part of me, I'm trying to think if this is 2, so this is issue 2. When we got the backstory for April, also. But you know, like we got the reverse introduction. There's like we saw her super messed up, and then we got her backstory. But when she introduced her daughter, when she was like, "Yeah, Casey, come over here," and Mikey is just like, "Yo, Casey, like he made it out of there," and she was like, "Nah, that's my daughter." like he dead.
He
like,
dead.
Like she confirmed that shit.
Like, but it was crazy how like that day that when Casey dies. And she gets caught in the explosion, and she wakes up in the hospital. Supposedly, she finds out she's pregnant. I'm like, what a way to find out you're pregnant with your arm missing and a leg missing too.
I thought of Full Metal when I read that. I was like, damn, she gave up an arm and a leg so the baby could survive. That's what that looked like.
Yep. And then she has to deal with that the whole time.
And she's what? If I remember in issue 3, we got her age. She's like 16, 17.
17.
So like 17. That. So this,
the whole
this
time
is a
period. Good... 17 years of Mikey just been out of nowhere. This ghost.
I will respect. I don't know if a lot of people caught on to it, but when you get the black and whites panels, like with Mikey, or even like with the others when they do certain flashbacks. I don't know if people caught on to that. That is, I respect the artist for that because that's homage to the original Ninja Turtles comic strip. That was somewhat the style of the original comic strip, and we know that comic strip was bloody. They killed Shredder in the first season.
I'm trying to remember which one was that because the one that I was like I think a reboot version comic I've been reading, so the art style was definitely different. You looking it up?
I'm gonna do a quick look up because I remember the art style, like gritty black and white. I think it was Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja because it was a 1-issue thing. Like they introduced the Turtles, they introduced the feud between Splinter and Shredder, and they killed Shredder at the end. And when they did that, people were like, they loved it. They loved the characters and shit, and they were just like, could you make this longer? Can you not end it in one issue?
Like a one shot.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes you're a one shot.
Nah, I can't do that. Some one shots, nope.
Too good for that. And we got a lot. Like I said, we haven't really dived into the recent issue yet. I want to stay on the first 2 for a bit more. So in the first one also is the way that they reintroduce the way they led us to believe, like go on the hunt of like we don't know who the last turtle is. And then when you have the way they played with us in having like the room conversation with all the turtles.
Yeah.
And then as the conversation goes on.
I definitely enjoyed those dialogues where the turtles like talking amongst each other. Like this is subconscious, like, oh, I would have did it different. No, you could have did that better. You should have ducked. Like things like that. Like that's just great writing.
Yeah, because he's critiquing himself from the point of view of his brothers.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have done it like that. And then, like, you have Ralph, like, I would have done it like that and worse.
Like, and you find out it was Mikey at the end. He's like, well, I figured it would be Mikey since
it'd be the one that would hit the hardest. Yeah, like, that's what I thought, too.
Like, it was the most obvious one, and, like, it made more sense because if he only took things serious, he'd be the best turtle.
Yeah. And then the thing is, even looking at it from a storyline standpoint, Leo is a leader, and like to have followed him on a revenge thing, it would have been way too samurai-ish.
Okay.
Like playing too much into the troop of, like, for lack of a better word, and not to really shit on the title, like, you're gonna do the Last Ronin with Leo. Come on, that's too on the nose.
That's too cliche.
And then Ralph, everyone would have assumed it was. I mean, everyone was assuming at first when it first was announced. Period. They were just like, who better to do a revenge piece than like Ralph? But then when we see how Ralph went about it, we're like, nah, it would have ended. That Ralph's story would have been cut short immediately.
Yeah, because the way how the second issue came in and show how he dies is exactly how Ralph would have reacted.
Yeah,
something happens to them. He gets rage. He wants revenge to the point like there's no stopping him, and then he ends up dying. Like it was too easy. And Donatello, as far as
oh man, I can't. I don't want to see that issue, but I want to see that issue.
As far as combat wise, Michelangelo's a better fighter than Donatello.
Yeah, Donatello's not really a fighter. Yeah.
So it'd have been weird just seeing Donatello, but he'd probably have mad tech. He'd probably been the Iron Ninja Turtle. He probably did some Tony Stark
shit. yeah, he would have. We would have gotten Iron Man and the Turtles.
And Mikey just fit perfect because like the one that never took things serious had to take life serious because he's the only one left.
And that's a way to play on his character too, because as a person, as the turtle who didn't take things serious, it's a great way to like for the character to easily put like self-doubt into himself. Like, damn, what if I was a little more serious? What if I took my training to another level instead of playing around with pizza and skateboarding and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And like you see it in, I'm thinking it's the end
of it's like you see kind of like hit east at him a little bit.
Yeah,
like, that's why he went away, like to like clear his head because he really wanted to off himself.
Oh yeah, that's when Casey ran up on him because he was like he's ready to end it all. He's like, yo, I failed. I don't know how I survived. My suicide mission. But I did, and he's like, you know what? Let me end things honorably.
Mm-hmm.
Oof.
Yeah. And then they show like a little like a thing like throwback, like flashback when he left to go find himself.
Oh yeah, issue 3.
That whole like time period. I think you say 17 years, damn near. And he was like. At first, he didn't know what to do with himself. Before he even thought about training, he's like, yo, I might as well off myself this time, too.
In the elements, yeah.
Because, like, I might as well join them. And then something so like, you know what? I can't. I got to avenge them and just be the turtle I know I can be, in a sense. Sounds cliche, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And the thing, too, is that I think some people might have think that no disrespect to the turtle writers, but I gotta make this comparison real quick just to calm people down. So we end up finding out in issue 3 that, which we knew this already because they spoke about this even in the original Ninja Turtles, they have a constant mutation, and we all knew that while they were strong to begin with in the series that we all know, they eventually over time their mutation was going to get it was going to progress and they were going to become stronger. So when we see that with Mikey, some people might, want to yell, oh, they pulled a Toriyama like with Mikey. They made him stronger because they had to and it's like, no, that's
understand the storyline and how their DNA works. It just makes sense.
Yeah, they get stronger as the mutation progresses and as they get, because they don't age in the regular sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they get stronger. And the thing is, one of the things that I know, because me and you spoke about it before, which wasn't really a Ninja Turtle thing, but in general, turtles have what was it called? Biological immortality. So as long as like either one of two things have to kill them. Somebody actually has to physically kill them, or they have to be taken out by a disease. Like if they're healthy and they don't get killed by a predator, they essentially
that's
have
why
biological
like
mortality.
real turtles and tortoises are like damn near 1,000 years old when you see them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, but as far as like between like the first three issues, like what like stood out more to you as far as like the writing in itself, like the attention and detail of the writing?
I gotta say that it hit so different too, because we know my excitement shaking the camera. Like we know from issue 1 that everyone's dead. Now this includes Splinter. To see them bring in Splinter, like essentially dead for better words, really, because he was bleeding so much that like at first I was like, damn, Ralph, you got fucked up, and it's like that wasn't his blood.
Yeah.
That was Splinter's blood. And for them to bring him in and they're like, yo, and like April, I think that was for April one of the hardest things for her to have to tell them, because she was just like, yo, I don't want to tell you this, but like he kind of dead. like if y'all need to get him a real doctor, because that man is like a good 50-20 minutes away from dying, and unless some drastic shit is done, like he dead. And she knows what that meant for them. Well, what do you think is what part of the story is that you feel like, damn, the writers did their thing, or kind of like it grabbed you?
I was already invested, but I was glued for sure with the subconscious conversation within himself. Like just seeing that, like he's literally talking to his brothers and all that, and then when he's in April's like lair, he's having tea, whatever.
Yeah.
And you see the images of them, and I'm like, yo, kudos on that one, because I would have never thought no shit like that if I was a writer.
Yeah. And I would jump on, just add a little bit more to that for you. So for the first issue, I said the way they introduced to us slowly, to give us breadcrumbs to like who was the dead, who was dead and who was the one live one, was that when we did get one of those first or maybe the second panels where you have the one turtle talking to what we later became to know as apparitions of the other turtles, was that they were fully fleshed out, full color, so you couldn't really tell he was talking to apparitions. And then it isn't until you see them from one panel to another, the colors fading from them, and then you're like, oh.
But also like, because within that first issue, there's a part where they actually do show Shredder's daughter. She's in this like little tube thing, whatever. But I'm thinking the grandson's just holding on to her because he can't let go. And then you find out in issue 3 that she's literally just in a coma.
Yeah.
The whole time. And then, like, I believe in the second issue, and he's talking to his generals, and he's like, just make sure you find this turtle or you end up like this one. I'm like, you got it, boss.
Yeah.
I ain't fucking with you. But
yeah,
definitely, I can't wait for that next one. I believe the next one comes out.
I already pre-ordered it, yo.
Because I think it's August. Yeah, yep, August 25th. Oh shit, that's my grandmother's memorial. Ooh, all right. But August 25th is when the next issue comes out. of course, we want to review that. But on for the next topic, we want to discuss Loki and the premiere had today. Double, how did you feel about the first episode so far?
So the way the first episode started, I like that they didn't just assume like, oh, you know where we're taking this off from. They gave us that whole scene literally from the movie, and then they just, that last piece is where they added the extraness of like, okay, let's put the focus on Loki for it.
Yeah. They showed it on his perspective pretty much.
Yeah.
Like they had this plan from the beginning.
Right. So the I would say the first, intriguing would be the best word to describe it, because that's like what I thought of the first couple of minutes, and we're getting him being chased through time, and we're seeing the first time where they did a whole a timeline reset for wherever it was that he was. So like that whole concept is interesting. And obviously, like all of that just leads up to a lot of the other stuff that's been announced recently. How did you feel about what were your first impressions?
Like the way the approach was definitely different. I wasn't expecting like, oh, it's actually like time travel police making sure how the time stream is and flowing correctly. So that was different because leading like up to like how the series was brought about, I'm thinking like, oh, he just based on the trailer, like, oh, he just with some agency, whatever, this and that, and the third, and he just causing mischief, this and that, and this and that. So to find out that he actually like has to work with a specific time traveling group that police is trying to the time barrier, whatever, and he has to find himself, like pretty much the character of Owen Wilson.
Yeah,
is trying to convince him he has to find himself because towards the end, find out the person they're actually chasing is another version of himself.
Yeah, that was a good twist, and I was like, "Ooh, that's interesting."
And he's like, "Oh, you do know yourself," and then that's when you find out that the person that's causing ruckus is another version of him.
Yeah,
but it was definitely like crazy how, like, so like when he escapes for like a quick second, and he plays back the real of what actually happens to him supposedly in the future, and he starts getting emotional. I'm like, damn. And like, this is a different version of yourself, and you've seen this like, my mom died, my pops died, I died,
he dies, yeah.
and there's no more film. He's like, so this is how it ends, right? What I got to do?
The other thing too, which kind of further broke him down, or I guess humanized his character, was, and my favorite scene from this episode, honestly, when he broke into the office with what's his name? From it seems like he reminded me of the guy from the IT crowd.
Okay.
But like when he was hiding him, and he was just like, "Shut up! I'll turn you into a fish." He's like, yeah. He's like, I feel like I should be afraid, but like, what's a fish? I don't know what a fish is. And then when he opened up the drawer and was like, the rest of the Infinity Stones, and he went to grab it, and he's like, and the guy's like, oh, like we all have a version of this. Yeah, it's nothing. And he's like, he realizes that the place is real. I think that's when it first starts getting to him that the place he's in is real, and that they literally do exist essentially outside of time.
And everything doesn't work within that time. Like his magic don't work.
Yeah, no magic works. So it's like him having the Tesseract was useless at that point. So it's like I said, it has potential. My wonder is, outside of once they start doing stuff, will Loki be able to use his powers? And then it's like, what's stopping him at that point from just not veering off and doing his own thing like he always does.
I think watching though that reel of his life, his future life, humbled him a little bit.
I agree.
So maybe like his character is going to change into the better. He might still be himself because he's going to be Loki. Because like in Thor 2, when they was fighting and he was doing it for the sake of their mother, the fight. So like it humanized him for that second, but he was still himself with his mischief ways because he turned himself into their father the whole time.
And the funny thing is, he has the same way he has. So he has a love and hate thing with Thor, and I feel like he has more of a love, hate, and respect thing with Odin, because he, for as much as he as a baby naturally like just turned into something that would appease Odin when they presented him to Odin. That's where the respect and fear comes from. But at the same time, he admired Odin and was like, I want you to legitimize me as a son. That's one of the things that he didn't like. Like people were always like, yeah, here comes Odin's son and Loki.
And he's going to be respected as Odin's son as well.
Yeah.
Which I understand. I get it. You don't want to be second fiddle.
True. And like his thing with Thor is sibling rivalry on a god level.
Facts.
So what do you think about as far as like the other characters that they have on there? Especially supporting cast. I mean, we don't know yet if they're just supporting cast.
At the moment, like Owen Wilson, like his snarky remarks is you can't like he's the character. Like he's playing himself. It's literally like he's playing himself.
Yeah.
And he still hasn't got his nose fixed.
But, as soon as I saw that, I was like, that's Owen Wilson.
Yeah, so but like it was weird for a second because when he introduces him, he's in like this cathedral.
Yeah.
And supposedly soon to find out it's another version of Loki causing havoc. And they compare him to the devil.
Yeah.
Because when he's talking to the kid, he's like, you see this person before? And then the kid points to the I forget what those things are called. Those glass images.
Oh, the window panes. Yeah.
Yeah, he points to that and he sees it like it's a devil image and he's like, okay. And then he finds out, Loki was captured. And he's like,
yeah.
Okay.
Which makes sense. And for those of you who don't understand how they bridge this, most of Loki's depictions through the mythology or even through the MCU, Loki has his battle armor where he wears the crown with the two horns.
Yeah.
So a lot of times
it paints a picture of him looking like a devil, especially if you see it from a shadow's perspective.
Yes. So that's the part that gave me again, like before, like just looking at him and the way they stylized him, the trench coat, the platinum blonde hair. I'm just like, I highly doubt this is how they would introduce Constantine, but I'm like, I'm getting Constantine vibes in this scene. And then when he spoke, I was like, nope. No, Constantine would not move like that.
Of course not. But as far as saying customers, you like what character like stood out, like supporting character stood out or has your attention outside of you say Owen Wilson, but like if it was Owen Wilson.
No, for me it's it was two characters. I like the way they presented the person who went and actually brought Loki in. Because I'm just like that dynamic was great. Like she was snarky as shit, and I'm like, yo, at some point, obviously, he's gonna turn it on you, and it's gonna be fucking hilarious because he's gonna do to you what you did to him.
Yeah.
The other one was again the guy from The Office. Like it stood out to me because I think of how Marvel likes to do throw little Easter egg things, and I don't think he's an Easter egg, but think more so of the guy who does the recaps for events. Gotcha. I feel like he might end up being a character like that, where he's just
Comic
funny, and they're like, yeah, we'll see him every so often. So again, I don't know if you are or how big of a Star Trek person you are, but I'm trying to remember Deep Space Nine, because it's a space station. That series just takes place there, and I feel like the way that this show is going to run is going to run like Star Trek Deep Space Nine, where like we're going to go places because the other Loki is jumping time and going to different places, but I think the main hub of the show is going to be
on that space station.
That space station, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that same dude's going to like build a rapport with Loki. Like they'll have that like weird connection. But he gonna see Loki like, hi Loki, and then they just have like little side conversations like that. Like that little 15 minutes of fame kind of conversation.
Yeah. Because didn't someone also say that they were a big fan? I mean, when Owen Wilson said that he was a big fan of Loki, right?
Yeah, I think he was just trying to say that to like build his confidence.
To build, yeah.
But like, I have high hopes for this show. Like, supposedly saying that this show is the one that is supposed to have the most like connections to the future movies.
Yeah, so the way they started, so that's like the beginning of the show when they were doing these explanations. Because I'm just like and I understand they rename certain things because they want to run the MCU in some type of way, and then there's certain terminology that they can't use. Because I'm like, you're talking about the Eternals, but you're not dropping it as a name, and I'm like, they kind of like touched like hinted at the Eternals. They also kind of talked about the Celestials and I forgot what they were called, the Watchers.
The Watchers, yeah.
Yes, they hinted at the Watchers and the what am I? The Galactics? No, not the Galactics. What were they called?
The Celestials, the Eternals.
The Celestial, the Eternals, and the Watchers.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm just like, for us in general, I feel like we, especially a lot of the older Marvel heads, it's like you want them at some point to introduce like the super cosmic stuff, but that whole thing can be its own thing, and I have no idea what the hell Marvel's planning, honestly, going forward.
I have a strong feeling that we definitely will get an Easter egg of Kang the Conqueror. Because he's one of those like cosmic villains, and he's always using time travel as well himself.
Because the issue for me with where I feel like Marvel dropped the ball a little bit is they had a chance to kind of like dip their toe in introducing Celestials and stuff, because we know that they spoke of him in the Collector ship, but he didn't get any other mention. They could have had Adam Warlock.
Yeah, they literally show us Cocoon and Guardians of the Galaxy too.
And I'm like, yo, right there, that's a great way to like segue a little bit into the Celestials.
He was supposed to be part of the
He's supposed to be part of the whole Infinity thing. He's Infinity Watch aftermath.
But they literally just like, no, too big of a character. They don't want him to take the focus away from Captain Marvel, bitch. But yeah, I think they want like their cosmic hero to just be Captain Marvel, so that they put her in the forefront, even though she probably had like 5 minutes in the whole Endgame movie.
Yeah, and then the other funny part, which we guessed that shit immediately when the way they did Endgame, is that they're phasing out the older actors and stuff like that. Not because of their age or anything. They want fresher stories, put more people to the forefront, and we got on Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, not for his portrayal of it, but like we kept reminding people, Iron Man is not an A-list superhero. For as much as like he got pushed more so to the front due to the movies, like he was a B-list, C-list hero.
He was even more of a B, because like even still part of the Avengers. I think I'll put him more the A-list hero only because his interaction with the Avengers. Outside of the Avengers, he's a B-list hero. But put him in the Avengers, I'll give him A. Just like because of like within Civil War, he plays a major role. With X-Men versus Avengers, plays pivotal role. Like a lot of these like interactions, he's like one of the main characters or heroes that's intertwined in everything. So like outside of the Avengers, yeah, he's damn near B or C list.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, I feel like they can. What's one of the things they started to do with, and I will tell people to watch it. I need to finish it because I didn't finish it. I watched a couple episodes, but that's what I loved about what they were doing with some of their TV series stuff. Like they were exploring other heroes that aren't really talked about. Cloak and Dagger is not really a horrible series. So with them doing stuff like that to shine more light. If I remember correctly, are they still doing Agents of Shield? Because I know at some point they drastically dropped the ball with that.
I don't know what they doing with Agents of Shield. I think the last time I watched Agents of Shield was when this chick actually discovers her powers.
For me, it was when what's his name, but because you know how the main chick, we might be talking about the same one, her and that other dude who was bad but turned good but then turned bad again. When he betrayed them again and they were doing something underwater or in a prison. I don't know what season that was, but that was the last time I touched that show. It just stopped. The issue for the show that drove it honestly to people to watch it is that it tied to the movies. I don't know if it kept tying to the movies, but it wasn't good enough to keep watching.
It stopped because they actually introduced the Inhumans to the point that Inhumans got their own show.
How is that? I keep seeing
because it like she's an Inhuman,
right? Yeah.
So I'm like, they tied that in to say like, here's your lineage. You're an Inhuman, and that's how supposedly that just tied in. I'm like, oh, whatever. No more you. Turn off.
Yeah, like the other thing too is like I've seen people recently talk about it, and I do see the DVDs all the time when I go into like Best Buy, Target, Walmart, and I'm just like, is it any good? Like I can't sit here and say it's trash. I haven't watched it, so I haven't heard anything about it either. So,
like, I'll say like the first few seasons was actually enjoyable because it was tied in like the whole like Winter Soldier part. It was tied into the show. Like Hydra took over in the show. That's why this dude ended up converting to being bad. To the point, I drew the conclusion that he's Taskmaster undercover the whole time.
Like that might be the tie they used for the movie.
I'm thinking like because the way how he disguised himself through the whole time working for Hydra to the point like he knew everybody's thoughts, how they move. Like, oh yeah, he's Taskmaster.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh well. No more of this for me. I'm done. And like some of the characters, like they introduced Deathlock, was pretty cool. Sif got some some shine. The Absorbing Man was in it as well, if I'm not mistaken. But as far as like the other Marvel shows that was in that other realm, like you had Agent Carter, that I honestly haven't seen a single episode, so I can't fully give my opinion on it.
Yeah, like I wasn't able to appreciate when she came back, when her daughter came back in what was it?
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah, like I knew who she was, but I'm like, I probably would have appreciated a little
niece.
more.
That's her niece.
Her niece. Yeah, that's one. Yeah. And then yeah. So there's still that mystery that they've left out in the open with the whole thing of what's his name being, was it Tahiti?
The code word.
Yeah, because like essentially we're all assuming that he just was taken to a ship or whatever after the events of what happened in Captain Marvel, and he technically hasn't been on Earth since.
Yeah.
All speculation.
Like nobody knows he's still alive technically.
And then you have the scrolls that are on Earth, that have been on Earth this whole time. So there's that, and having the because if I remember for this phase, didn't they talk about reintroducing the Fantastic Four?
There's a possibility because this is technically phase 4 for them. Yeah. So they actually used the Fantastic Four symbol to say it's phase 4.
Because I know that the rumor is that the big bad for phase 4, which is why they're gonna, because they're gonna they're introducing the Eternals so they could do the whole backstory about it, how the Celestials brought down the I keep forgetting the middle ground. I know Galactus technically isn't a Celestial, right? Isn't that he survived the war?
He's an entity. He's a cosmic entity.
Because him and his group had a war with the Celestials. Then at the end of the war, he was the last surviving of his whatever the hell they're called. And then he named himself Galactus as like the herald of whatever. And the way that he enslaves people, how like Silver Surfer, the other side that won has Galactus as their herald for world eating and all that shit. Because I remember I deep dove that shit.
They might actually add Mephisto too to this whole thing.
Mephisto would make sense.
Because they are gonna interact the multiverse. Because since Spider-Man 2 already did it, that's how they're gonna manipulate the multiverse. So Sony's Venom can join the MCU, and Deadpool's version of Fox can join the MCU. So the whole multiverse is supposed to intertwine that. That's how they're gonna tie everything in.
The multiverse is not even really about the characters; it's about being to like grab shit from other production companies. Like, yo, give me that.
Yeah, it's so Disney of them. But outside of the Last Ronin, have you been reading any other comics?
Before we even lead into that, speculation for the next issue of Last Ronin. How do you think they're gonna take Donnie out?
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I'm not either. I'm like, yo, I know however they take him out.
I'm not doing it.
That's bad.
I'm not speaking on that. Because that issue will actually show how Donnie and Splinter officially dies.
True. That's true.
Remember, they go into Japan for a truce.
Yeah. And then we find out why he was so well. Technically, damn! Now I want to reread the third issue. Donnie didn't come back.
No, he was. They were still on their way to Japan when everything was happening. So in reality, he don't know that Leo and Casey died.
Damn, that adds a layer to it. Did he die not knowing? That it's Leo possible. And Casey died. Like, damn, that's a layer.
But he probably finds out from the grandson because the message probably gets translated to him somehow.
Probably to make like the to kind of put more agony and pain into the situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't even think about that because I'm like, yo, that's a whole nother level. Whether he finds out or not, it doesn't take away from the moment, but it can add if he does know. But oh man, it's something I'm like, damn.
I don't want to think about how he dies. I just I'll wait till August. I'm gonna say that I'll wait till August.
Yeah. So to your original question, outside of Last Ronin, what am I reading? Even as far as like comics?
It could be comics, manga, literature, regular literature.
So for manga, as y'all already know, I'm like diving in fully into One Piece. So I haven't read any chapter from I think we recorded a couple days ago, but I'm 20 plus in already.
So what, as far as when you read it, what you read so far, or like?
So who was it? The clown.
Okay.
They defeated the clown.
Okay.
And what's her name joined his crew. I forget the girl's name. Yes.
Okay.
She joined the crew. You find out you get a better explanation of the double fruits. And the reason why, like, while they make you powerful, the reason why a lot of pirates are just like, it seems like most of the pirates so far that I come across, like, it wasn't done on, like, they didn't eat it on purpose. They happen on the fruit and they happen to just eat it, and they find out later that they ate the damn fruit. Yeah. Because a lot of the pirates, like, they'll grab it and have it as treasure. They know what it is, and they're like, not touching that shit, because the moment I eat it, like, the biggest thing for them is like, you can't swim. You lose the ability to swim. And I'm like, found that hilarious. But then I'm like, it's their kryptonite. So, like, they're pirates. They like to do pirate shit. So, like, not being able to swim is their kryptonite.
Yeah, like, and you're a pirate that can't swim.
Yeah, like, that's the stupid part. And I'm like, honestly, everything has a stupid part. Like, every manga or anime or whatever has a stupid part. That's their stupid part. And I'm like, if this is the stupid part of One Piece, like, I made peace with it already. So yeah, it is what it is. Makes sense. I love that. And again, I never had a big hold as Dragon Ball Z being one of the big three. For me, it was like most people, it's nostalgia. It's one of your first, so you respect it in the sense it's one of the first ones that you watch.
It's the father of the big three. Yeah, because the original big three is One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. Regardless of what anybody thinks, those are the big three because those were the top three shonen anime that was running media in itself. Yeah, that's what the shonen declared them to be three. There's no such thing as a new one. There will never be a new one. So anybody that thinks the new generation is part of the big three, go suck your mother.
Yeah. And then the other thing is again the story, the way I will tell people the same thing I will tell them in recommending JoJo's to them. I'm like, honestly, I understand that the animation for shit or the drawing style might put people off. Like, oh, it's too cartoony. Like, I don't like this. And they might say, like, they're more into shit like Vinland Saga or Vagabond. Like, they like the rough, like, real sketchy shit, like, real gritty. But I'm like, I would tell people from a person that stayed very far away from One Piece. Nothing. I never bashed it. Never said. All I would say, the only comment is like, "Yo, it's a lot to read, and that's a lot of episodes." But as a person who finally decided to take the dive, I'll tell you, get past if you're gonna watch it, get past the animation style, get past the drawing style. If you're gonna read the manga, the story's good, and I'm only 20 chapters in. The way Luffy befriends people, huh?
I'm about almost episode 400, and actually watching it. So as far as chapters, I'm around chapter 450 something in chapters. So, yeah.
So I'm like, the praise that I can give it for the 20 chapters that I'm in is that the way Luffy befriends people, even people who are his enemies first, and who has that trope, Goku.
That's a shonen trope.
It is, but the way that they do it in One Piece is something that makes sense because it's done from like they put them in a life or death situation, or your situation isn't going to get better unless you accept this help. And the characters now feel like, because Luffy goes out of his way to show them like, yo, I'm about this. I give a shit about my crew. I'm trying to build my crew, and I will protect y'all to death.
10 toes down.
Yeah. So like he goes out of his way to prove that to, again, like I'm only 20 chapters in, to every single person that he's befriended. And that's how they gain his respect. Like Goku ain't do that shit. Goku's like,
I beat your ass, and you're my friend now.
And another thing too is like when you take a step back from a lot of anime, like especially ones that you hold near and dear to your heart, you understand the fucked upness. Now, this is gonna be a mind break for some of the Naruto fans, but if you take a step back, Naruto held the whole village, the whole ninja world hostage after Shippuden finished. Cause who the hell's trying to fuck with Naruto after that? No one. Even Sasuke was like, "You good, big bro? I'm gonna go deal with shit on the other side of the world. You got it? You got it here? I'm gonna come back in 10 years, take care of my daughter." Like, there is some fucked up shit that goes on in those animes when you take a step back.
For myself, reading wise.
Oh, one more to add. The last thing is comic book wise, I let it play out because like you do when it comes to something that you're dying to read or dying to see, I let a couple issues come out so I could just dive in. I will now be officially starting the King in Black event. I've been waiting for it to finish the side issues and all that.
Okay, the King in Black. Before you get into it, you might have to go to Venom in Black first. I'm not mistaken. Okay. Because the actual main villain, his prelude is in the Venom in Black series.
Oh, okay.
And when I tell you Venom in Black, I have a whole new respect for Eddie Brock. I'ma just say that. I have a whole new respect for Eddie Brock.
Random question, because I know that there are some people from, I don't know if it was from the pod crew or people we've spoken to before. Do we know anyone who had a sub to the Marvel comics or Comixology or anything like that? My question was going to be like, is it worth it? Because like,
I got it.
Oh, so how is that?
Okay, Comixology actually connects to your Amazon account.
Okay.
So if you download like comics from Amazon, you can read it through Comixology.
Okay.
And they have this feature in there when you read it like the comic, you could read it panel by panel instead of reading it straight down.
Yeah, because I know Kindle does that too. I read mine on Kindle.
Yeah, so it has that feature too. Like,
but does Comixology
sometimes it gives you a lot of the catalog.
So I was gonna say Comixology, like when you the sub is a sub for it.
I don't have the subscription. I just downloaded the app.
But the app itself, where would you get? Because you said Amazon is definitely one of the places you pulling comics from.
Yeah.
But does Amazon, the app is
the app itself sells comics too, but it also allows you to read some free ones too.
Okay.
I think there was a feature they had like a long time ago. I think it was last year. It's like you sign up now, they give you have access to like a certain like category of free comics. It'd be random. So like it's like it's been holding me down for the moment, and plus there's always discounts on comics. Like You could read The Boys on here, like a lot of vibrant comics. You could read like a lot of independent comics is definitely on here.
But like my thing was, I was wondering if they had. I mean, I don't expect because it's Marvel. Yeah. I don't expect them to for their price to be like dirt cheap. Like I feel like Shonen Jump is $2, but I feel like if the price is right and I have essentially as long as I have a sub active, I can access comics, their catalog or the majority of their catalog. I feel like I would use it. Because I do have.
There's a price. I'm not sure if it's a price. I'm trying to look to see if it's actual price on it.
Because the one thing that I know right now, I'm looking at Marvel Unlimited. They have a monthly sub for $9.99.
I don't get charged at all for Comixology. Just let you know.
Yeah. So Comixology is just like you pay for if you want something like very specific.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
So, like for instance, I have like a wish list of things. Like once I like get into like the amount of comics I want to read and get them done, I have like the Iceman series just ready to read because I wanted to know what made Iceman to be an Omega level, the potential to have Omega level powers.
Yeah.
So that's why I did that. I had the original Ninja Turtles, the reboot version. Yeah. I have that in my queue. Transformers have in my queue. I have Dark Horse Comics DC, The Mask in my queue. House of M as a reread in my queue. Batman Rebirth, starting with the Court of Owls as a like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that was my thing. Like I was, as even like Cam has, I think it was Cam or Crystal who spoke about it too. That they jump on and off of Shonen Jump, understandably too. Because like the thing is, if you are a faster reader too, you can fly through 100 chapters really quick.
Yeah, like I started like this manga called Phantom Seer on Sunday, and I've been like doing like maybe 3 to 5 chapters a day. It's only 20 chapters. Like I didn't read none today because I was doing other things. Yeah. But I could have literally finished it by yesterday if I really wanted to. The 20 chapters. Yeah. I just didn't. I didn't force myself to finish reading it all because I was trying to take my time.
It's like one of the things for myself that this is the one little thing that I don't like about the Shonen app, right? Mm-hmm. Because I have it on both my phones. I was going to put it on my tablet because for me, reading manga and comics on the tablet is just so much easier. Mm-hmm. The issue for me, so the issue for me with Shonen Jump, the Shonen app is that it doesn't sync across devices. So you got to remember that where you were. Like it'll remember that you're reading this, you're reading that, but it doesn't keep your place. So that's the part. Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is, like, I tried it even on the desktop. The desktop said there's a bookmark feature, but there was nothing on the screen for me to click to bookmark. Like there is no bookmark icon. Gotcha. So my thing with like that's where I feel like they dropped the ball, and I can see why some people like they might have tried the app and then they were like, screw that, like you're not keeping my place. Like so it keeps your place. Let me reword that. Where you're viewing it, like if you're viewing it on the app, that's when I have Marvel Unlimited up because I'm looking at Comixology. If you do it on the phone, it keeps track of where you are, what page, but it won't sync across anything else. So you have to, again, if you want to read it somewhere else, you got to make sure that you're up to date with where your phone is at. How has Comixology worked like that for you? Like, does it sync across? Like,
I haven't tried it other than my phone.
Okay.
But as far as it does sync with the Kindle app.
Okay.
So say you You reading it through Comixology, whatever page you left off, it will bookmark it to the Kindle. Vice versa.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. That's definitely different.
All right, so I'll do more research on the official Marvel side of things just to I guess so we can bring, better knowledge to the audience as far as like their choices with things.
But other than that, it was definitely a good episode. Feels like old times on the former pod we had.
Yeah.
And this time it's not in person. That's all. But hope everybody's enjoying our series, The Comics Month. I know it's been a minute since I've been recording this. Just, family comes first, And been working on other things with the pod, Got the merch store. We have other side shows we have. We have Game with a Blur. We have Mayanaka Mixer, buying some books. Scholar School with Steve as well. And the YouTube channel is definitely popping off. So as far as this series is always gonna be exclusive to YouTube. And any last words, Double O?
Well, one, I'll say there's other people here, but in general, we gotta give credit where it's due because we have, unbeknownst to our audience, we do have a lot of people doing things behind the scenes, and a lot of the time that it takes in to splice things, get things together, get the meetings together, get people together, get themes, get outlines, do the final cuts for all this content that comes out. You got unsung heroes in the background. I don't have flowers, but there's a plant back there. Giving people the plants while they here.
Socials.
So the way I made everyone laugh last time, you can find me at the Tree No Forest, TREE dot. Wait, what? I fucked that up already. linktr.ee/DoubleOhStatus. All my social media stuff is there. I also have, the crew on there, so you could press the It Mob podcast. It'll take you to everybody else's the podcast social media stuff, and you can find others through there too. So
yeah, so it's your boy Alpha closing us out. You can follow me on my link tree as well. Burn them bitches out. linktr.ee Alpha. And thanks for watching as always. Red Cup family. I see y'all. And peace.